my name is Duong and with my partner Hanh Pham, today we are going to represent the phylum Hemichordata. Hemi means half, chordata means core or strings. Here's the outline. We are going to talk about their definitive characteristic, moving on with the classification and end with their life cycle. Hemichordata are triploblastic, which means they went through complete gastrulation with 3 germ layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. They are bilaterally symmetry, and they are also deuterosome. Deuterosome in which the anus developed first and the mouth developed later. They have true cetylmate with complete guts and body cavity. Their body plan is trimerid, including prosome, mesosome, and metasome. They have open circulatory system, including 1 dorsal, 1 ventral vessel, and 1 dorsal heart. They are exclusively marine, either solitary or colonial animal. Hemichordata are deposits or suspension feeder. They are formerly a subphylum of Chordata until recently become its own phylum. Common ancestry review by dorsal nerve tube and pharyngeal gill slit. Their gill slits form at some times during development and is used for feeding and gas exchange. There are only 2 classes included in this phylum, which is Enteropneusta and Pterobranchia. Moving on with the first class, Enteropneusta, which is also known as acorn worm or tongueworm. They are a solitary animal and mostly asexual reproductions. Few of them are sexually reproductive. They have great ability in regenerate tissue and body parts. Enteropneusta worms generally live in buried soft sediments or under rocks. You can also find them along the seashore in U-shaped burrow. Neuterosta are mostly deposit feeder. They have mucus-covered body, which including 3 clearly divided parts: proboscis, collar, and trunk. And keep in mind, the proboscis and collar are used for burrowing and locomotions. The anus terminates at the posterior end of the long trunk. The trunk is also divided into 3 parts: branchial and genital, which is their gill, and this is where their reproductive organ ends. Hepatic is their intestine, which show a dorsolateral series of outpocketing. And the last part of the trunk is called abdominans. They are external fertilization and is indirectly developed because of their Tornaria larva stage. This is the life cycle of Enteropneusta. Before fertilizing stage, female worms release their eggs through their gill slit and followed by shedding sperm by the neighbor males. Once the eggs are fertilized, the mucus coat breaks down, freeing the eggs into the seawater, and these eggs are called planktons. Here are the planktons. The enteropneus are indirectly developing during their larval stage, which is called Tornaria larva, and the Tornaria larva has ciliary bands, which resemble their cousin larva stage, echinoderms. Tornaria are free-swimming larvae that soon elongate and sink in their adult state, forming 3-region body. Their gill slit develop asymmetrically. The left side forms first from anterior to posterior, and here is their gill slit. This part is the hepatic.
Moving on to the next class of the phylum, we have the class Pterobrachia, which is a colonial or aggregations animal. Even though the two classes may look distinctly different, the Pterobrachia still have the trimeric body length just like Enteropneus. However, the gill apparatus is much more similar. It is because without secondary bars nor supporting structures and less defined brachial sacs. Their circulatory system is also very reduced and only consists of a heart or central sinus and a heart vesicle associated with the bucco-diverticulum and glomerula. They are sedentary animals, which mean they would attach to a substrate such as rock, stone, or any slow-moving animal like clams or even barnacles or sometimes soft corals. They are tube-dwelling. There are several of protraction and retraction of individual within their tubular house. Mostly they are asexual reproductive within their colony. They are unique by having their cephalic seal or preoral disc is a cribbing sole that would fold ventrally over their mouth, and they also have the lophophore, which help in ciliary mucus suspension feeding. The lophophore would project out from the tube and it will collect the food particle from the water, and the food particle then stick to the mucus covered tentacles, and the food will then transfer to their mouth. The turtle ranch live in the colony and is represented by the Rhodoplura, and the aggregation animal is represented by the Cephalodiscus. These animals are often found living in the tube on the deep ocean seafloor and only in the southern hemisphere. They have a direct development and there may or may not exist a larval form. So the egg would shed into the tube and the sperm from the other individual would fertilize the eggs and it will grow by budding. The budding in Rhodoplura would occur along the stolon and that grow from the tip of the adult, and the bud would never detach from the mother zooid. While in the Cephalodiscus, the bud is arise from near the base of the stalk of the adult, and it may eventually detach from one another, and when it matures, it will living as an aggregation individual. There is only Rhodoplura embryogenesis had been studied. The embryo would escape the brooding area within the parental tube as a fully ciliate Blanura-like larva, which the larva state only exists for 24 hours and it will settle and surround it with a translucent seal cocoon. Then it will then undergo metamorphosis.
Here is some fun fact about Hemichordata. The acorn worm had transparent blood, and they cast their feces while eating sands. So if you dive in the marine and you see something like this, probably that's their feces. This is a fast forward video of how they eat and digest their food. That's their anus, and here is their feces. Amazing, right? Okay, so moving on to the question. You guys can pause for 3 seconds and answering the question, or you can move back to the video and look for the answer. Question number 1. What are the proboscis and color used for? The answer is burrowing and locomotion.
And question number 2 is pterobrachial, solitary, or colonial? And the answer is they are colonial.
Here's the word status page. And thank you for watching.